In the last video, I got asked in one of the comments to go ahead and do a video on a cargo van versus a conversion van for living in. And so that's what this video is going to be about.
Oh, the day I break these chains, I'm bound for the life of the simple things.
Now, I've lived in both a cargo van here for about the last 2.5 months now. Don't have a lot of setup in it. It's pretty simple, you know, since I was in a rush to find something to stay in when I left the RV and everything. And I've also lived in a conversion van that I kind of had a setup in, but I didn't spend a whole lot of money. I wanted to keep it real simple so I could spend the majority of my money on a long trip. But I'm gonna go ahead and discuss this cargo van versus conversion van with you. First of all, I think a lot of it depends on what kind of budget you have for doing a setup in those vans. If you have a good sized budget, you know, say $2,000 or $3,000, I think it's cargo van all the way. And if you don't have a good sized budget and you barely were able to purchase the van, I would say that a conversion van is better. And let me get into why. The reason why I feel that way and everything is because with a conversion van, if you want to do like a really detailed, full out build out inside a conversion van, really you need to gut the whole thing. So you're gonna have to gut it back down to looking like pretty much a cargo van anyways to do a complete build out in it. And you're gonna be wasting a lot of the coolest parts about a conversion van. You know, the fact that it's livable and decent inside before you do anything to it. Now, the advantages of a cargo van, other than just not having to tear everything out of it when you go to start a true build, is that cargo vans are really easy to have blend in. It gives you a larger number of places to park and everything, and especially if you have one of the dividers that divides the front cab seats and stuff from the rear of the van. And what I've noticed is when you take a flashlight at night and you shine it into a cargo van from the front that has one of those dividers, you can't really see in the back. There's something that goes on with shadows and stuff that doesn't let you see back there. So you don't really need to do a whole lot to keep people from seeing in and to you, number one. Number two, because they can look in there and maybe you can have like, say, a vest, you know, one of the reflective vests like I have on the passenger seat for when I'm doing flagging or working construction sites. If you have something like that, it's just going to look like a work truck and it's going to be able to blend in anywhere industrial. A lot of times it can be a decent fit at even some of the truck stops that don't really allow RVs or anything to be parked overnight for people sleeping in them and stuff. A cargo van can get away with it there. And anytime you have a cargo van, say, parked in a parking lot, I don't think it stands out as much as long as you don't have a lot of obvious things out on it, you know, like big, you know, bubble vents and stuff like that. As long as you don't have a lot of those things, they fit in so well. Because I mean, anybody could be doing work at any business over the evening hours when the business is closed, construction wise. So you get a real advantage there. So if you have some places that aren't really friendly to the lifestyle and everything, the cargo van is going to be a lot more likely to get away with being there. Next, with the cargo van versus a conversion van, when you go to insulate and stuff like that, not having all those windows makes it so much easier to insulate and prevent yourself from having condensation and stuff inside. The windows really build up a lot of condensation. I've found a lot more than what I find in a cargo van. So that's a big positive. Plus, the cargo vans being built like they are, you're much less likely on a cargo van to hit anything that's important if you're starting to drill spots to have power plug in directly and these kinds of things. I think you're a lot better off than what you're gonna find in a conversion van. Another thing is a lot of the AC vents and electrical and stuff that's run along the ceiling in a conversion van, you don't have that in a cargo van. So when you go to, say you want to put a high top on it so that you're able to stand up inside, which is what I would want to do in a van build for sure. I do think that's really important. Plus, when you have it where you can stand up inside like that, it's a lot easier to build a shower and stuff in there than it is going to be in a conversion van. Sure, you can, in a conversion van, if you decide to do a build, you can still cut the top and put a high top on it. But when you do that, you're going to be losing a lot of this extra stuff that you paid for. The conversion vans are getting a lot more expensive. Like, for instance, I noticed when I bought the conversion van I had and everything, I only paid $3,600 after taxes and license and everything. It was under $4,000. Now I can't even find an equivalent conversion van like that for under $6,000. You know, similar miles in year and leather and amenities and stuff. You just can't. I didn't hardly have any budget at all when I made this purchase on the cargo van. And so one of the things that's nice when you don't really have a budget, and that kind of makes me wish I had a conversion van for this stage of time that I'm living in it, is the conversion vans are fairly nice inside already, you know, especially if you get the little bit of higher top. It feels like there's a little more room. You're not so crowded. You still have to hunch over, but it's not as crowded, you know, and you can get those stock like that. And you know, you already have some finish work and everything and carpeting and stuff, and so it doesn't feel as stale and everything, and you're not going to hear all the noises as much from outside, because there is a little bit of insulation and stuff that prevents you from hearing all that noise. So that's definitely an advantage if you're in a situation like myself where you don't have much for the setup and you barely can afford the van, and I think a conversion van wins then. But as far as like somebody that has plenty of time to do a setup, has a decent budget and everything, cargo van's the way to do it. It's going to be easier and cheaper to rock a cargo van, and I think it actually blends in a little bit better. And if you're going to do the van life thing, it's really important that you blend in as much as you possibly can, because there's still a lot of stigma to doing the van thing, and people still have a lot of attitude about it. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thought it real quick before I go, I'll show you my nice camping spot over here. So I'm backed up right here to the river, and that water is so nice and clean and clear. It's a real nice little spot here. And there's the picnic table and a fire pit. Having a good time out here, guys. I'll talk a little bit more about the spot a little bit later, and I'm going to be doing a big announcement video here very shortly about something that Mike, Eric, and I are all going to be putting on, and I'll probably talk about that in the next video with you. Get out there, connect with people, live your big story, and make sure you do something every single day to reduce world suck. Peace, guys.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you.